Welcome to Parties to Playdates. I'm Kendall.
And I'm Jess. We're here to fill your day with warmth and laughter.
Join us as we navigate the chaos and joy of everyday life.
We're all about sharing real-life moments with a dash of humor and practical tips.
So grab your coffee and settle in for a cozy chat.
Because here, every moment is a story worth sharing.
No topic is off limit.
And every listener is a friend.
Let's get this party started.
Well, we want to welcome Susie Arnold. This is a dear friend of mine that I've known for almost 20 years. She is, I know, she is a mom of 8 children. I'll let her give all the details on that one.
I have 8 children, no twins. They all were given birth by me.
All same baby daddy.
Yeah.
All same baby daddy, same husband. So kind of unusual today.
So true. How many boys, how many girls?
3 boys and 5 girls.
Wow.
God bless me.
Oh,
yeah.
That is a lot of girls.
Huge.
I love it. They range in age. Yeah, they range in age. My oldest just turned 26 and my youngest is 14. Yeah, we had been married 7 years before we had kids. So
how fun.
Yeah.
I love that. Okay, cool.
That's awesome. Well, when I first met Susie, she was just the coolest mom I think I had ever met. Like, she was super practical and super organized, and I was so impressed.
Oh, I bet. How did you guys meet? Where?
Church.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Church. Like, it was right after you guys got married. You had moved to Fayetteville. Yeah. And you must have I think we all started coming to church at that church at the same time. And it was a smaller church that did like all these home groups and everything, and they super wanted you to get involved into things, and which was always, my husband wasn't the most social person in the world. Well, it's not that he's not social. Everybody's drawn to him. It's kind of crazy, but he was he's in the military, and he pretty much averaged, he would be deployed about 8 months every year.
Wow.
Not all in a row, but at different, like, 2 months and 4 months and just different things like that. So, when he was home, and all of his friends who were in the military as well, when they were home, they spent time with their family. They didn't hang out or anything like that. But, we started going to church, and actually, you've talked to me about always how I always had people at my house, but that started with you guys.
Did it really?
Really?
Because yeah, it really did. It did, because Dave and Andrew were both going to Mike's home group or whatever. And after 1 week, one night, he says, "I think we're supposed to invite them over to our house." And of course, me, I'm like, we never did that. And then it just went from there.
That's so funny.
So we always had
because
people.
we've talked about that before. We've talked about having people over at our house, and like how strange almost it is in our area that people like never go to people's homes.
Yeah.
They always want to like go to the bars or the restaurants or do something else, but never in people's homes. So we get excited when people invite us to their houses.
Well, and as Kendall knows, me and Andrew are really good at just being like, "Hey, we're going to come over."
Okay.
Or, "Hey, let's get together." We have always been those people that are like, "Yeah, we'll hang out." And one of my fondest memories of Dave and Susie is we were hanging out at their house. I can't even remember how long I feel like it hadn't been very long. And it was like on a Sunday afternoon, and everybody was relaxing. And we put on a movie like Castaway or something.
So good.
And everybody fell asleep. Just strangers napping together.
Just like a sea of people in your living room.
And I remember waking up being like, "This is so weird. This is so nice."
It's so nice when you feel that
when you just feel safe and comfortable and like a home away from home. It was always such like a relaxed, wonderful place to be. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, and then where my husband gets comfortable enough that you guys are there at night, and he goes, "Okay, y'all need to get out because I got to go to bed."
That's when you know you're so comfortable.
And Dave's like, "Get out." We're like, "Okay, fine, I guess so."
That's hilarious.
That's why Andrew always says, "If you want to sleep, you got to tell us to get out because we'll stay
true.
forever."
That's true. He does say that.
He does. I love it.
like, "I'm tired. You need to go to bed. We need to go to bed. We're old now." But you guys were way younger than us, so, I don't know, but we had kids late, so
Yeah.
people our age weren't having they already had their kids were older,
Mhm.
and for us to have them be all at our house was easier because then I could put my kids to bed and I didn't have to worry about keeping them up late or anything like that, so but
Yeah.
another
Yeah.
thing you guys have talked about is we never hardly ever got invited over to other people's houses. So, like, when we got invited to someone's house, my kids would be so excited to get to go to
Aw.
somebody else's house.
I think that's so
So,
cool. Special. Yeah, like, I still get excited. Like, I had a girlfriend text me today. She goes, "The door's open. Come on over, play date." And I'm like, "Oh my god, that's so nice." I'm like,
I
"Sorry,
love
can't
it.
make it. I have podcasting, but tomorrow I'll be there." Makes you feel good.
It does. I love it.
yeah, it
And
does.
and I love when people have homes that have kids that
Mhm.
are, like, allowed to, like, run around and play and enjoy themselves, and it's not, like, complete chaos, but it's a kid-friendly environment, and so it's a place where you can go, still have, like, adult conversations and feel like you have friends and
Yeah.
friendships, but your kids still get to play and have a good time, and they don't feel just, like, locked down somewhere and you can't touch anything or you can't do anything, so
Yeah.
Yeah.
that was always so much fun. My kids always loved coming to your house because there was, like, never-ending people to play with.
That is awesome.
It was beautiful. Joys of big families.
Mhm.
I love it.
Oh, yes, never boring.
I love it, and too, because you had older kids when we had babies, it was nice because, like, the older kids would, like to play with the younger kids, and they
Oh,
would
yeah.
help with babies, and they would
Totally.
give them attention. It was like this whole little community of children helping other children and,
Aw.
carrying them around and loving on them and bringing
So
them
cute.
snacks, and, oh my gosh, it was so adorable. So,
Yeah, it's kinda weird when my younger kids aren't experienced with little kids,
yeah.
but
Yeah.
now they get nieces and nephews, so that's
That's
nice.
awesome.
So,
Yeah, it is interesting how the older ones definitely have, like, this different experience with children. Like, my girls love babies and kids, and they're amazing with them, and I'm like, how much of that was just the amount of children and babies that they were raised with in all those different environments, you
yeah.
know?
Mhm.
And it's kind of a superpower, I feel like,
It is.
that you kinda give them, like, that cool skill that they can handle, interacting with older kids and interacting with little kids and kind of understanding how it all kind of works together. So,
Yeah, well, babies can be scary,
Oh,
so
yeah.
it's like if you've never been around one, they're scary.
Mhm.
yeah,
So,
so true.
well,
Susie, we always like to ask at the beginning of our podcast, what did they say or do this week? Now, I'm sure you have a plethora of stories from your lifetime, so it doesn't have to be super recent,
Mhm. It
but
doesn't have to be your kids, it could be your friends, it could be you,
yeah.
whoever.
So we just love a good story. So what do you got for us?
I had a lot, and some of mine's an older one. Couldn't decide if I was gonna tell a story of when you and Andrew watched my
Oh,
kids and cooked the
Oh, no. I love it.
we come back from being gone for a weekend, and one of the mattresses is, like, completely twisted and, like, bent, and I'm like, "What has happened here?" We find out later that Andrew and Jessica took the twin mattress and let them go sliding down the stairs with it.
Oh, great idea. That is so something you guys would do.
it is.
We're so lucky we don't have
They
stairs.
talk about that they talk about that, and then when you also let them go on the trampoline with the dish soap and slide with water all on the
Oh my
trampoline, they really love that,
ah!
so I also had another one, and the other story was, we were getting ready to go out of town, and we hadn't left our children with our older children before,
Mm.
and, I was I went to it was at our old house, and I checked in on the girls, and they were out on the roof.
Oh my
They
gosh.
were out on the roof, and I completely freaked, and I was getting ready to leave town, and as a mom, you think of all of these
Mhm.
things these kids are going to do when you're gone. Falling off the roof was not one that I had in my database there. Completely freaked out, and I was like, "Oh my gosh." I'm like, "You cannot do this," because it was 2 stories. It was like yeah, it was 2 stories because yeah, a full 2 stories that they would have fallen off the roof. I find out later the dog had come out on the roof to join them on accident. So
Oh,
Bella
no.
was like walking on the roof freaking. I was like, these kids, they you want to protect them and they make it very difficult. And that was the weekend we came down to Florida and we saw you. So we had dinner with you and Andrew.
Oh, how lovely.
But it was just like,
So they were definitely the shoulda known better age.
Probably.
They're like
no, yes, they were
they're like teenagers.
How did you find out?
So now leaving them with 18 and 19-year-olds, it was a window that opened sideways and the screen had broken. Gee, I wonder how. And and I walked in on them and I lost it.
Oh
I
my
was like, "Have you
gosh.
lost your mind?"
100% they lost it out the window.
They just
So
That's
true.
great.
it takes a long time for them to start thinking
Mhm.
practically.
Oh my
So
god.
That is a good one.
That
is
one's really
so
good.
I love it.
Yeah.
Did you have anything crazy happen this week?
I ran a marathon yesterday.
Oh, snap.
And
Oh my god.
yeah, so that's my little
That sounds
story.
good.
And I'm feeling good.
I
I'm
love
feeling
it.
really good as long as I keep moving. If I just like lay down or do something for a long time sitting, my legs are like, eek. But no, we're
Nice.
good. That's honestly, I think that's all I've been doing.
This is a great juxtaposition to show who we are because I spent my weekend rhinestoning a helmet.
I saw. I died. It was
So
gorgeous.
Kendall was running for 30 miles and I was rhinestoning for 30 hours.
Oh my goodness. Well, see, everyone has different giftings and talents.
Very different
And
goals
it's
here.
beautiful.
It did turn out really nice. It is so sparkly.
It's so
I saw
sparkly.
that. It was very pretty.
We actually took it out last night when we went to watch the game.
Of course you did.
And we ran into the people that had the rhinestone helmet that inspired our rhinestone helmet.
Was it another Chiefs
No,
helmet?
it was an Eagles fan.
Shut up.
And we walked in, and on the other side of the bar there's the Eagles helmet. It was the same people we'd run into before. I know hers was bought on Etsy because she told me.
Oh, she didn't do it?
She didn't do it. And we were just going to buy one on Etsy, but then we found out
they're so
they're
expensive.
$1,500.
You should sell
That's
it
what I'm
now.
saying.
I know. I'm like, maybe after this third Super Bowl, I'm just going to auction that bad boy off.
You should.
But I thought it was hilarious. They happened to show up at the same place.
Were you wearing your rhinestone boots?
I wasn't not wearing the red rhinestone
That's
boots.
what I'm talking about.
I was wearing black rhinestone boots.
I love it.
They were not the Kansas City boots. They were just the normal black rhinestone boots.
I'll take it.
So it definitely fit with the rhinestone theme for yesterday.
I love it.
So
How many pairs of rhinestone boots do you have in your closet, Jess?
Great question.
well, I only boots. I have black rhinestone boots, and then I have the red ones are actually sequin boots with a Kansas City rhinestone patch on them, and then I also have rhinestone tennis shoes, and then I also have sequin like flats, like slip-ons, and then I also have like glittered heels. A couple of those. I don't know. There's a lot of sparkle in my shoe repertoire, apparently.
Girl.
I just want to glitter all the time.
You should. That's your personality.
Susie, how many rhinestone boots are in your closet?
I can say I have none.
I don't think I have any either.
See how much easier that is to count?
Funny. Fantastic.
I love it. Well, I wanted you to meet Susie because she's fabulous, but she also has some amazing skills when it comes to grocery shopping, meal planning, cooking, like prowess. She is amazing.
I'm so excited.
Food is always delicious. It feeds the masses, and nobody ever complained at any of Susie's get-togethers about the food. People would be like, "Oh, what is this? Oh, where did you get that?" And I always have to go because I have never been to a party with some of the best like spread utensils, like those cool little curved knives and forks and all the little things that are like little mini spatulas. Like she has all the perfect tools,
small details
that make those party foods like so convenient, super easy. It looks so fancy. And that was one of the things I loved. I was like, oh, I want to be that woman someday with fancy spreaders.
I can't wait to hear all about it. I'm going to learn so much.
So
Give it to me, girl.
Susie. So when you had all the kids in the house and Dave was deployed, you were doing once a month grocery shopping and once a month like pre-cooking stuff or like prepping stuff, food prep.
Yes.
So tell us about that.
Yeah. Well, I didn't want to go to the grocery store, and I lived away from family, so I didn't have a free babysitter.
I feel you.
So that's always helpful. So I had to do everything with my kids. And so I would load them up and we would go to, it's so funny because my son Jesse, who is he's 24 right now, he can still to this day tell me how many aisles are in the commissary because it was torturous. Because I think there was like 24
Oh my gosh,
aisles
that's a
in the
lot.
commissary. Yeah. And I would make them all go. And obviously I was shopping for a month. So when I had babies, I was buying a month's worth of baby food. I was buying a month's worth of milk. I was buying a month's worth of bread. I mean, thank God I had a freezer
That was my question.
so that I would freeze the milk. I'd freeze the Yeah, I would freeze the milk. I'd freeze the bread. I just didn't have time, or it wasn't easy. Like, oh, I'm out of this. I need to run to the store real quick. That was not a real quick thing. So I just made a day of it. And then typically the next day I would prep food, I'd chop up, I'd cook, I'd make like taco meat or sloppy joes or whatever. I had some cookbooks, like once a month cooking and different things like that that I went off of to do freezer meals, and some I liked, and we'd try trial and error, what we liked, what we didn't like, type of things. I did all of that because we were in the military and I stayed at home and we could not afford a lot. We had to have a menu. I had to plan what we were going to have, and I had a budget for food, and as you added kids, which, they're little kids don't eat a lot. It's like they're not eating a lot. You just have to kinda make it kid friendly because they are a little kinda particular. So it was a little bit easier when Dave was gone because I just catered to what the kids liked and I, fended I as a mom, I feel like you eat what they don't eat.
Yeah,
So
you eat
it's
the
like,
scraps.
okay, I don't need to worry about me, So I got really good at planning menus and grocery lists and finding the best deal. I didn't realize it until later on in life that people don't pay attention to how much things cost. I was kind of shocked by that because I didn't have an option. If I knew that milk was $2 one place and that store it's $3, I can't spend $3 on milk there because I know so I went to multiple grocery stores. I did the commissary, I did Aldi, mainly those two. I would shop other stores if I knew their meat was on sale or whatever. I stopped sales. Now, I did not do coupons. I can't coupon. So I'm not in my blood. I tried. I would buy myself the fancy notebook, but things expired so quick.
Yeah.
I would do all this work and think, dang, those are expired now. And what's the point? So I realized my gifting is not couponing. And I was like, I'm not doing that. So not that I won't use a coupon if I have it, I'll use it, but I'm not digging for them.
100%.
So
Yeah.
Yeah. So tell
yeah.
Kendall, she told me this the other day and I thought it was such a crazy thing to think about that she's like this master shopper. But Susie, before you got married, how many times had you done your own grocery shopping?
Never. I had never been grocery shopping. My mother worked at a grocery store. She was a front end manager.
Oh my
She retired
goodness.
from a grocery store. And so she would do her grocery shopping after work. So, and the other thing about it was my sister, who's like 9 years older than me, my mom would call us from work and say, hey, I left out this roast. I want you to do this and this to it, put it in the oven and make this meal. She would tell us to make it, but we didn't know what the cut of meat was. We didn't know what it was because we never went grocery shopping. And so my sister, when she got married, she specifically said to me, she's like, figure out the meat because I have struggled, because she didn't know anything. So I can tell you all the parts of a cow now. So I know what meat has to cook a really long time, what doesn't have to cook very long, all that. But I learned, I knew how to make the food. I just didn't know how to grocery shop. So when we got married, we were poor because I wasn't working yet. I did start working, but he made $1,100 a month with our rent and our car
Yeah.
payment and all our bills. We didn't have any money. I I had this time because he would go out in the field and he'd be gone. It was just me. I was in a new town. I didn't know anybody. And so I made a grocery list. I said, okay, I want to make these things. And before I even bought anything, I went to grocery stores and I just went up and down the aisles and I wrote down how much everything costs in each store. And then I would look and compare it, and I go, okay, so this store is good for me to get this, this, and this, and then this store is good for me to get this here. And so that's when I started going to different grocery stores. So I paid attention to how much things cost, which I didn't realize that now people sometimes don't.
They
They
just
don't
grab
know
and
how much
go.
they just yeah, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, that I never did that. My mom even because my mom worked in a grocery store, she did teach me how much things cost. Even when my mom worked at a grocery store, she still got groceries at Aldi. She would still go to different grocery stores because she knew what was expensive at her store and what other store she needed to go to. So I knew that much, but I had no idea. And so I did all this research, I guess, basically. And then by the time the kids I had like a lot of them and they were little, I literally had a master grocery list that was the aisles of the grocery store that I knew, and I would circle if I needed salt, if I needed flour, I would circle what I needed, and I would just mark it off my list as I went down when I made my grocery list. So, I was telling Jess the other day, I was like, my girls tell me from, like, TikTok or Instagram or whatever that, we apparently are an ingredient household, which I had never
I've
heard the
never heard
term
of that
before,
either, so
but
tell me.
I have so the thing is like, okay, when you are hungry and want a snack, in a ingredient household, you figure it out. You'll get a flour tortilla and you'll throw chocolate chips and marshmallows, mini marshmallows, and put it in the microwave and make a snack. When other people just want a bag of chips or something, we might not have that instant gratification, but I have plenty of things for you to make
Got you.
yourself a snack. So I always have instant pudding, and I always have chocolate chips, and I always have, of course, all my baking things and cream of chicken and cream of mushroom soup, and I always have, ranch Hidden Valley Ranch mix, not the
The
like the
packet where you have
mix,
to,
the
the
like,
powder,
game
stir it. Yeah.
changer,
and,
the Hidden Valley magic.
you always I mean, my kids they put it on popcorn, and
Everything.
they throw Parmesan cheese, and it's just
Hey, they're
it's like,
creative.
"Okay,
Sounds
whatever."
delicious.
I love it.
So
That is so interesting.
that's
So,
my
Kendall, are
story.
you an ingredient household?
Yes and no, I think, because well, maybe not. I mean, we have ingredients to, like, make things that you want, but with a small child, my son's almost 2, so it's a lot easier to just, like, grab the applesauce pouch instead of being like, "Well, we have apples. We could make applesauce," but it's a lot.
Oh, I'm not doing
Yeah,
that.
I'm
No,
like,
Susie had
a lot
applesauce too,
easier
100%.
a lot easier to just grab it and go.
Yeah.
But and it's funny because now I feel like he's more interested in, like, less he loves snacks, don't get me wrong, but he'd rather have the apple. Like, I gave him the choice today. He's so into apples right now. I gave him the choice, an apple or the applesauce pouch, and he got so excited to see the apple, and I was like, "Great." Or, like, randomly, he'll just eat a tortilla with nothing on it, and I'm like,
Ugh,
"Okay, that's
yum.
gross and a little dry, but sure, whatever you want." He's more into, like, the big people food, I feel like, than the baby snacks and stuff like that, but
That's good. He just
I
wants
think
some real
you're an
food.
ingredient household.
I am 100%
Yeah.
an ingredient household. And this is what's funny. Sometimes I'm like, I'm going to be convenient. I'm just going to buy stuff my kids can just throw in the microwave. But you know what happens to an ingredient household when you buy that garbage? It's gone in a day.
Oh.
18 corn dogs will disappear in 12 hours. And you're like, I
just bought it.
I'm
So
pretty sure
true.
there was 15 pancake on a stick in here 2
Those are
hours
so
ago,
good.
and then you just find wrappers all over and sticks in the couch and all that.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
like, guys, this is a
Oh,
problem.
totally.
This is why I don't buy this stuff because, like you said, when you're on a budget, making a meal plan is so much more cost effective because you're using, you know, a head of lettuce for 3 different meals, or you're using whatever it might be for multiple things, and you're saving money because you're using an ingredient in multiple places, and the cost ratio is so huge. So I'm definitely an ingredient household that dabbles in the non-ingredients, but it always backfires on me.
Well, I have tried too, and I'll look at those, like, those Uncrustables, and I'm like, "They're $9 for a
I
They're
can't
so
package of peanut butter and
expensive.
jelly
I
sandwiches."
can't
They're
bring
so
myself
expensive.
to buy the Uncrustables. I have friends that love them and buy them, and I'm like, "Guys, just make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich and stamp it out. Like, cut it
They
out
make
if you
those
care
things.
that
Yeah, they
much."
make them.
And I'll be honest, I like the crust of bread.
I
I don't
love
know why
the
people
crust of
hate
bread.
it so bad, but I like the crust. So why are we taking it off, people?
I love the butt of the bread. I call it the butt.
The
People call it
butt.
the foot, the heel. I call it the butt. That's my favorite part. My husband knows. He'll save both ends for me.
Little peanut butter butt
It's
sandwich.
so good. But Susie, I will say this. I am so shocked that you've never been grocery shopping until as like an adult practically. My parents are both in the grocery business as well. My dad literally just retired this past year from it from like, I don't even know, 40 something years, I think, probably longer than that. And my mom was also in the grocery industry as well. And I swear when we were younger, I don't even know my parents' grocery shop because it was like back and forth. My mom did the graveyard, I believe, and my dad, and this is when we were really young. My dad would work during the day. But I swear my mom would go at like 6 in the morning, like right when the grocery stores would open. So, because I'm one of 5, so she was not going to drag all 5 of us. She's like, I'm not doing that. I can't. First off, I also have to ask how many grocery carts you had. Where did the kids sit? I need to know everything. But yeah, it just food would disappear and it was just absolutely awesome. But I realize now my mom would go to different stores just like you did. She'd go to Costco to get the bulk items. She'd go to the 99-cent store. We have those in California and there's just 99-cent everything pretty much. She'd go to Trader Joe's because it's also cheap. She'd go find, they used to work at Ralph's, which is I think Kroger. Certain things there, food for less. I mean, Walmart, she'd hop around like 6 grocery stores. And I'm like, I didn't get it until I started paying for my own groceries. And I'm like, I understand now. But I also love grocery shopping. I love it. It's like therapeutic for me. If Ryan's like, oh, I need something from the grocery store, I'm like, I can go do it. I got it. I'll take the kid. I don't care. But I love grocery shopping. There's something about being in the market that just relaxes me. I don't know. I just don't have to think, I feel like. I just roam the aisles. I don't know.
I love that. Yeah. How many carts did you have? I feel like I saw this once.
You had to have like 4.
Oh, did you? No, I'm trying to, well, when I obviously had one in a car seat, like a carrier, and if I did the big one where I could put 2 in like they would have seats and then I'd have one in the carrier, and then I trained my kids to hold corners of the
Oh,
cart.
very smart.
So I typically did only 1 cart, but it would be almost
Oh,
overflowing. However, but once I had, like, maybe, you know, a 10-year-old or something, I might have him push a cart, but maybe just the cart with the children
yeah.
in it because I didn't want to, I don't know. I can't. What do you say you saw me one time?
I feel
Or
like I
did you?
witnessed you once with multiple carts.
I'm just
Really?
thinking like
Well, I would have had, if I did, I would have done 2, but I almost feel like 1 would be filled with
Yeah.
children.
literally,
So
I was
it's
like,
like,
who's pushing all these
yeah.
carts?
Yeah. I remember once
Yeah.
when I think I just had 3 kids at that point. I remember going into Aldi one day and I think Torin fell asleep, but she was too big for like a carrier. So I hooked an umbrella stroller on the front of the cart and strapped her in. So she was suspended on the front, like like those little animals on the tops of cars. It was kind of like that, but on the front of the grocery cart. And then I'm pretty sure I had somebody else strapped. I think I had Marin strapped into the seat, and then I had Shaw in a baby carrier, like on top of the groceries. So I was just like piled with children and piled with groceries, and you just like lift it up and stuff the groceries underneath.
The one in front is so funny.
The one in front was really funny. It definitely made navigating the aisles a little tricky, but you know what? She slept like most of the time, and I was like, she just needs a nap. She just needs to be comfortable. And people were just like,
I would have said something if you turned
watching
the corner
me
and I saw that.
drive by.
I'd be like, yes, girl. I'd probably be like, I'm so sorry. That's awesome.
Yeah, it was like my little cart mount on the front.
That's
or like those
hilarious.
Viking ships that have the mermaid.
Yes.
But I just had a sleeping child.
Back then, they didn't have those wrappy things where you wrap the kid to you. I wasn't
Oh.
wrapping a kid to me at all. You know, it's just like they didn't have that. I mean, I don't even know if that was I don't think that was even an option, was it, Jess? Do you remember? I
I don't
mean,
think so.
I don't
I
remember
had
that, but I wasn't one to tell the
remember
kids to me either.
I remember one of my kids. If I was the third, I feel like when you hit 3, you run out of hands. And I feel like I remember having
Yeah, you do.
Shaw, or maybe in one of those like rabbit. I remember grocerying, and kid you not, just sneak the boob out and like nurse in the little carrier grocery shopping. You're like, we are multitasking right now. We got to get done what we got to get done. If she doesn't eat, she's going to freak out.
Yeah.
And so there was definitely some times that I'm like, people have no idea what's happening in here.
They don't need
There
to
is
know.
all sorts of stuff going on. But as a mom with that many kids, you kind of just have to do what you got to do sometimes and push your way through it. So, but I have witnessed Susie's aisle list that has all her like.
Oh, that's awesome.
Because it was a list that's by aisles with all the different items that she would normally get, and she would just like check off like how many she needed for each of the items. And I'm like, this is brilliant. You don't have to write it out. It saves you all this time. You know exactly where it's at. You're not spending all this time wandering around while your kids are getting more and more and more irritated being there. And I was always just like, Susie is so organized.
Yeah, that's awesome.
How does she do it?
Because my husband was gone and kids would go to bed at 7:00 at night.
Like,
and then I was like, now what am I going to do?
I love it.
Got time now. But, you know, the worst thing when you have little kids like that and you're grocery shopping is to have to go back to a different aisle that you've already been down.
Yeah.
Like, I can't do that.
You're like, sorry, we don't need the salt today. This month we're salt free.
Oh, I'm in the freezer section and I forgot tomatoes. That's not happening. So just one of those things. I think that's why I did it. I tried finding that list. I can't find it. I must have been on an old computer or something. I totally did it to save time.
Yeah. That's so
I was torturing the kids, you know, by making them grocery shop for like 2 hours. It's like,
Did you?
they get the reward of animals.
Oh,
What?
I was just thinking, like, did you start from like meals and then you had to like break it down, or did you just buy random ingredients and see what you can make with that? Like, how did that go down?
Oh, no, it had to be meals. It had to be meals. I would plan, like, say I was gonna do spaghetti. If I was gonna do spaghetti, what do we have with spaghetti? We have garlic bread, we have salad, whatever. I made sure I had everything for that meal, you know, to have it, you know, whatever the sides were going to be. Like, I didn't just look for the main dish. I looked, like, if I'm having a roast and if I'm making, you know, some kind of potatoes or whatever to go with it, I have to have the potatoes. I have to have whatever ingredients I need, the butter, whatever I need to make the items. I made sure they were on my list. So because of that, my kids are now trained. They've always been trained. They will open the pantry or something and they'll say, hey, can I have this?
Oh, instead of just going for it.
Because they know. Yeah, because it's like, hey, what happened to this? You know, I was gonna make, you know, whatever. You can't make a box of brownies or whatever. I always have brownie mix and cake mix and everything, but ask me first because I might be planning on making a dessert or something, and I bought that specifically for the dessert.
That's funny. My kids do the same thing. They'll be like, Mom, can I use this? I'll be absolutely not. I'll be using that for something else. And then sometimes they don't ask me, and then I'll go to make something, and I'll be like, "Oh, who used the can of spaghetti sauce?" Like, I'll be
that would
like,
suck.
"Oh my god, just totally destroyed my whole plan."
Yeah, no,
Because
totally.
you do specifically buy things for certain meals, and some things are not things that you always have on hand. So if you specifically buy something and then you think that it's there and then you go to get it and it's not, it's like, "Oh my gosh, these kids."
Yeah.
Or you like are making taco salad and then somebody decided to chow down on all the tortilla chips.
Oh, there goes our meal.
There goes the, I guess we're just having salad, guys. No taco in this salad.
Yeah. With the month long, so you're doing breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Yes? Okay,
Yes.
so
Yes.
did you do like a rotation, or was it just like Tuesdays are tacos, Wednesdays spaghetti, and it was just like your weekly thing?
No, I did a rotation. I liked more
Yeah.
variety than that. I was never one to do, like, Taco
Mhm.
Tuesday, and I just I had too many I it's my mother and my grandmother and myself, we love
Mhm.
recipes. That's really what it comes down to. I love recipes. I can just read them like a book, "Oh, that sounds really good,"
That's
that type
awesome.
of thing. So because I love recipes, I like variety, and so I typically would just what I did do that was a time saver, it's like my brain would go completely dead and I couldn't think of a single thing I ever
Mhm.
make, you know? So I made a master list of recipes. I would break it down into, uh, chicken, beef. There, I got a picture of
Oh,
one.
nice.
So it was like
Oh, yeah.
I would I would list all of my recipes. I even did breakfasts, sides, I just made master lists and I go, okay. And I would look through my list when I would start my menu planning. I'm going, oh, what am I going to want to
That's so
make?
smart.
And then because you have to remember too, this was before
Yeah.
Pinterest. This was before I
Mhm.
mean, I had a flip phone. We didn't have recipes on our phone to look at. You didn't have any of
Mhm.
that. So it was like, I had my master food list, and then when I would add things, learn new recipes, I'd add them to it, but then I would know, "Oh, okay, I'm gonna make, we're gonna go with this," and I would look through what my recipes were gonna be, and I did it for breakfast too, but typically with breakfast, I didn't plan, like, what they were gonna have each
Mhm.
day. I would have oatmeal, we did cheese. My kids laugh because they will tell people like, "Oh, I love cheese toast," and people are like, cheese toast, like a half of a grilled cheese? And they're like, "Well, no, it's kinda different."
That's so funny.
It's like so, I mean, but I'd have cereal, I'd have stuff, and the kids pretty much would tell me what they
Yeah.
would want for breakfast, They would have just random breakfast foods. Lunch, pretty much the same thing, it was just dinner that I had planned meals
Yeah.
for and made sure I had the ingredients for.
We need
And then we also had these home groups where we had people at
Mm.
our house where we entertained.
Mhm.
So even in my meal planning, I was planning going, "Okay, what snacks am I gonna have for this week?" We had it every week, and so I would make sure I'd have the ingredients for everything. I
That's
just
amazing. So
did it because I didn't wanna
I don't
store.
blame you. For when you said when you guys first got married and you had a budget for food and everything else, are you still on, like, a budget that you give yourself?
Yeah, I don't do it as much now. I do plan menu items, like I know what I'm gonna have, but I have an issue right now. My struggle is I only really have 2 kids
Mm.
at home. I mean, I have 4, but one's 20 and one's 18, and they are working. They're not around very much. And half the time they don't eat here,
Mhm.
I mean, that's their choice, or they just eat leftovers, whatever. But, and so I'm it's a struggle of adjusting my quantity and how often we really wanna eat, or what are we gonna have. We fend for those poor Jonah and Sarah fend for themselves a lot. So it's like Jonah's a master at ramen.
Oh, so good.
So the past few years have been kinda different. Dave has different jobs, so I haven't quite had to watch my, uh my spending quite as
Mhm.
much. So I which I have great my Rachel, my daughter Rachel is married and her husband's enlisted in the army, and I don't know how they're doing it now because everything's so expensive. I can't imagine, your pay doesn't get increased when there's inflation, unfortunately. And so I don't know how families do it now with how expensive everything is. It's kind of crazy. Even rent, that's crazy, because my rent when we got married was $335 a month, so it's expensive. On Sundays, we all try to gather together, whoever's here. So Jesse and Lydia will come and my grandbaby, and typically all the kids try to be here who's in the area. So I do plan a big meal on Sundays. Aside from that, we downscale it. I have a few. Like tonight, I'm making chili. I do meals, but not every night like I used to. It's just a change of seasons, and honestly, it's kind of sad. It's sad. It's
Is it? Yeah.
just different. It's different. Yeah, it is. Enjoy the time you have with your little ones because it goes by so fast. And then they're gone, and then you get grandbabies, which is wonderful. They're amazing, but I don't get to see them every day. It's like, so, well, I do on FaceTime, but, so it's just one of those things where it's like, oh, that was a good time. It was a good time,
That's
when we're all
awesome.
little. Yeah, it's totally different. There's some good sides to it, and there's other sides that's like, oh, it's just so quiet right now. It's like, where is everybody? So
Yeah, the only entertainment is gone.
it's like you have a child, like my Rachel was the instigator. I always called her the common denominator. If there was a problem, she was a part of it. So it's just like, and she's all married with a baby, she's gone. So it's like, it's just like, oh, my troublemaker, I love her dearly, but she caused drama.
So funny.
So it's just like, but she FaceTimes her sisters every day, they have to see their niece, we talk to her all the time. We miss her tremendously, it's just like, but she caused she had a lot of life giving in our home. So it's like she really did that. And then I don't know. It's just everybody does different things.
She was the cutest little chubby cheeked little girl. She was so adorable and she had the cutest little voice. And what was the phrase that she would always say? She would be like, I love your baby. Whenever there was babies, she would say, I love you, baby. I love you, baby. She was so sweet. Oh my gosh.
Now she loves her own baby.
So
that's crazy.
So, and she's pregnant with her second. So
that's so fun.
Yeah, it's doing wow. So yeah, she's got number 2 coming.
Wow, congratulations.
I never asked them how many they're gonna have. I don't expect any of them to have 8, God no, but I never asked them how many they're gonna have. I'm like, I'll just let you figure that out. It's like, that's on you.
It's interesting to see when how people go, like which way are they going to go? Just like one kid because they're like, I came from a big, I don't want to do that, or like because I feel like people will, but like I'm like, oh, I want all the kids. I came from like that fun house. There was always somebody doing something, always somebody there. You can come and have a quiet time if you want. Yeah, like I don't know. It's like you kind of want where you came from sometimes, I think, but you never know. Watch, you have like 40 grandkids. That's a lot. I feel like that's very doable because
it is a lot.
You could have.
I could. So it's not crazy, but I love it. We love the grandbabies, man. They're amazing. They're just so sweet.
That's great. So the last little bit for our podcast, we do recipe of the week or whatever we're cooking tonight, tomorrow, what we've done in the past that we really, really like.
So what's one of your favorite recipes, one of your go-tos, one that's just like always a crowd?
Yeah. It's called beef tips and rice.
Ooh.
I actually got it from my friend Kathy. She has 9 kids, and you take stew meat and carrots and you cook them in vinegar and salt and water until it's all disappeared. And then you add a stick of butter and green peppers and onions.
Yum.
And you that, and then I make rice. You serve it with rice, but I cook the rice in beef broth.
Oh, nice.
So I will give you a recipe. It's a really yummy one. Typically, when I ask my kids, what should I make for dinner? I only have like one one that's not a huge fan of it, but the rest are like beef tips and rice. I'm like, okay, I'll make beef tips and rice.
That is awesome.
So
That's a pretty like affordable one too,
Yeah.
honestly. Like not expensive meat, not expensive
Yeah.
veggies, like
And
rice is cheap. Like that's kind of perfect.
Yeah.
Especially for big families.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, well, we'll get that
Yeah.
full recipe from
one.
Susie and put it on our socials and our website.
Yeah.
So we all can have some. Well, Kendall's not going to eat that, but
That's okay, but my husband will.
she'll have some bell peppers
do
and
it with
onion
the
on
meat.
rice.
I totally would. Oh, that sounds
Kendall
so
eats
good.
rice with all
Yeah,
sorts of
get
stuff.
I
carrots.
do.
I love that. That's yummy. What have you been making, Kendall?
I did make my chili this past week, and that was like, oh, it was so delicious. It was so good. Did that. We did cornbread with it. And then I can't remember what what have we been doing? I can't even think straight. Ryan did a bunch of pasta with chicken and veggies that him and Maverick like fully ate the whole thing of within like one day. Like usually there's leftovers, but they ate everything. And then we actually tried that 331 or 331 noodle spot again last night.
Oh, nice.
And it was really
nice.
I was shocked because it was not the very first time. It was just different for me. But this time we're going back.
I love it.
So yeah, we did take out last night because we were just done with the weekend.
Yeah. Well, you've been marathoning.
Even Ryan, he went around to all the little cheers. It was really sweet.
Oh
so
my
he did the
gosh.
whole 26 miles too.
That's cute.
Yeah.
He just kept getting in front.
Yeah. And then watching me go away, and Maverick would see me get so excited, be like, ah, and then he'd go,
Because you just ran on by.
He would cry. It was so sad.
Oh, poor little guy.
Yeah.
Honestly, I've just been eating a lot of cheese.
Good for you.
I found this cheese. I found this cheese at Publix. That's like I had it. We had it at your friend's house. It's an espresso coated cheese. I don't even know what cheese it is. I don't know if it's cheddar. Kind of has this little crusty espresso edge on it, and it kind of has like smoky, delicious flavor. So I've been in that. I've been eating honey goaties, eating wine-soaked Gouda or something. I don't know.
He created a monster.
He did create them. I just threw all these random cheeses in my cart, just peruse through them and slather whatever.
You're like queen.
And then I've just been eating lots of cottage. I'm just getting waffles and bagel and eggs. I'm putting cottage cheese in everything.
You're in your cheese era.
I'm in my era for sure. I don't know if this is good or bad, but I'm eating all these, and I can't tell you what my family's eating, so I have no idea. I've been in the rhinestone sweat, guys.
That's so true. You have been. That's hilarious.
All just fueled by nothing but cheese. Cheese and quality lighting. Pro tip: get good lighting if you're going to rhinestone some stuff, because my eyes were like try to focus.
Where you get the magnifying glass.
I know Angel
out.
goes, hey, just why don't you just use a magnifying glass? I was like, cool. Why don't you get that for me?
Yeah, do we have one?
Do we have a magnifying glass just laying around somewhere? Because I don't think we do. I barely found a light to turn on around here to make this place bright enough to see these stinking rhinestones.
What did you do for an adhesive?
It was whatever adhesive came with it. It was called B7000, I think.
Oh, you bought a kit.
It was just a kit that came with this little pencil thing that you just dabbed onto the rhinestone. So it's kind of like a waxy pencil that would pick up the rhinestone.
Yeah. Looks like bead art, like people do crafts, that type of thing with it. Well, okay, so the helmet, was it sticky?
No, the helmet. So I would put like the glue had like a really, really fine tip, like almost like a needle point tip. And you would just squeeze like a really thin line of it. And then I would go through and stick every single little rhinestone on, and then do another thin line of it.
Oh, wow.
I've never done it before. I just started going.
That is so cool.
Zero research. Just order this stuff and start gluing.
It looks fantastic. Seriously.
So yeah.
It really did. It looked really great.
It was fun. I love a sparkle, as we know. So yeah, any wise words, encouragement for our listeners, Susie, with all these hungry childrens?
Well, make a list. That's important. go with what you feel comfortable with, and know that you might not be an amazing cook. You have the ability to feed your family in a reasonable way, but also don't I wanna say everyone has different giftings, and yours might not be, you know, meal planning, and that's okay because I can't write a song, and sing it by myself with different lyrics, and I don't have that creativity, and so embrace what is your gifting, and, I feel like you have it. You don't look at me and think, "Oh, I could never do that." You look at what your giftings are, because we can easily, I don't know, look down on ourselves because of what everyone else do. I am not running a marathon. I am not. It's like I can't. I mean, for me, and yes, I mean, you would tell me, "Oh, sure you can. You just gotta practice," but for me, I'm like, I'm like, I limit myself there. I guess we have to pay attention to what we limit ourselves with because half of it is what even we think we can do, I don't know. We can shut down opportunities for ourselves because we just think we're incapable of doing
I
something.
agree.
And I think you just have to be mindful of what is it that you can do because there's many things like, "Oh, I'd really like to do that, but I can't." Well, you need to ask yourself, "Why can't you?" Why can't you do that? I think we can. It's just having to have a different mindset.
Yeah. I really like that. I fully agree.
But we are we do have gifts. You have a gift and you can look at one person and go, "I could never do that." But you have to look at what are your gifts because I think too often we look at what we aren't capable of doing instead of what is easy for you because that's your gifting.
Yeah, that's good. And I'm not an organized list making person, but meeting people like Susie and hearing stuff says there's little things. I might not make a list of all the aisles in the grocery, but I might plan differently or think about my week differently or think about it differently and kind of those small little things that I'm capable of implementing in life instead of like full force 100% list making organization.
Exactly.
I know myself and I know I'll be like I'll spend all this time on the list and then I'll lose it or I won't use it
Yeah.
or I'll forget it somewhere. But your tip about doing the different meats and the different
That
meals that
was
you love
we
is
need a photo of them.
genius
So smart.
because so many times I'm like, "Oh, we just had beef the other day, but all I can think about is beef dishes." And I'm like, "What are the chicken dishes that we eat?" And I can't think of one. And that would be really helpful
Oh,
just to put on the fridge because I'm constantly asking my family, "What do you guys want to eat?" Because I get tired of deciding what everybody's going to eat. I don't want to pick dinner. I'll make dinner all day, but I don't
exactly.
want it. So if we had just the master list of beef, chicken, fish, whatever on the fridge and it's all their favorites, I could just say, instead of saying, "What do you want to eat?" I'd say, "Go pick a chicken dish and that's what we're going to have," or whatever it might be, because it would save
Yeah.
me a lot of frustration. Obviously, they don't want to think of anything either. And then it would kind of keep it in the forefront of their mind and be like, "Oh, I was looking at the list the other day. We haven't had spaghetti or we haven't had, Alfredo or what it might be," because I go back to the same stuff over and over. And Andrew will be like, "Oh my gosh, we're eating this again." And I'm like, "What? Nobody gave me any new ideas. What am I supposed to do?" So, yeah, that's a great idea.
Yeah. I always get Anna. I'll say, "What should I make for dinner?" And she always tells me, and they'll tell me, "You always make what Anna wants." I'm like, "Because she tells me something she wants. I
Yeah.
will make it if you tell me what you want." Just like,
That's
Exactly.
funny.
I need
True.
help.
I love it.
So,
I love an idea. No, Gretchen Rubin always talks about, she calls it decision fatigue. And his mom's
Mm.
like, all day long. You're like, get the
Whoa.
laundry done, get this done. Do these people need to be at this place? Have I done this? Mom, can we have that? Mom, can we go there? Like all day long, you're making decision after decision after decision. And it's called decision fatigue, where you're just like, I don't want to decide anymore. Like, I'm done.
Yeah.
Everybody's eating cheese for dinner. It's over.
Cheese, that's what we're having.
Here's some crust. I'm done. You should have told me what you wanted. So
that's ridiculous. I don't know. I feel so much better when I get up in the morning if I know what's for dinner that night. I don't know why it is.
Oh, totally.
It's like it's a little lingering thing in the back of your head, like what's for dinner, what's for dinner. You know, it's just like, and then it's 5 o'clock and you're like, what's for dinner? I don't know what's for dinner. You know, it's like make a sandwich.
Already accomplished something before your day even started. Like you've already made the dinner in your mind.
Yeah.
And it's one less thing you have to kind of do in your day. That's beautiful. That's the best.
Yeah, that's so funny.
Go.
Well, fabulous. Susie, you're so wonderful for chatting with us and giving all these fabulous tips. I know you have more stuff, so we might have you come back. Because Susie has.
Well, thanks.
I love it.
Thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy days to hang out with us and talk to our people.
Well, thank you so much for having me. It was great talking
love you,
to you.
Susie.
Love meeting you. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Love you. All righty. Bye.
And that, party people, wraps up another delightful episode of Parties to Playdates.
We hope you're leaving with a smile, a story, and maybe a tip or two.
Remember, life's journey is better shared with a friend.
And we're so grateful to be part of yours.
If you enjoyed today's chat, don't forget to rate and subscribe to our show.
Your support keeps our community growing and our stories flowing. We want to hear from you. Please send us your thoughts, ideas, and questions to partiestoplaydates@gmail.com. You can also find us on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok at Parties to Playdates.
Until next time, keep embracing the chaos and finding the joy.
Take care and stay connected, party people.
Bye for now, and don't forget to laugh a little extra today.
Bye.